So the first thing that I want to tell you is don't read the scary stories. Now, I know who we are as a culture. We love to be scared, apparently. The bigger the roller coaster, the better. The more outrageous the scary movie, we flock to it. We apparently like to be scared. Not in college admissions. So don't read the headlines. When you see them, ignore them, or look at them and say, okay, poor soul that somebody wrote about, but they found one student. It's not representative of what happens. So how the heck did we get to this point then, where people want to read these stories, and they sure do run, and the books all get written about these same kinds of scenarios in the college admissions process? I suppose it goes back again to who we are as a culture. But some of it is fueled by something else, and it's fueled by ratings and rankings. And the biggest abuser of this, of all, is U.S. News and World Report. Does anyone here work for U.S. News? Good. I figured I would be safe here. When I'm in the D.C. area, it's a little dicier when I ask that question. I wouldn't have no issue at all with U.S. News and World Report if it simply collected all of the information that it does an excellent job collecting and provided that to everyone, and let you decide as students and as a family which of the pieces of information is valuable to you. You use your values. You start this process by saying, who am I as a learner? What community of learners do I want to surround myself with? What is it that I'm thinking I want to get out of my college experience? How do I want to be challenged? Where's my comfort zone? These are the questions that should start this college search process, instead of the other question, what schools should I have on my list? And let me grab the U.S. News and World Report as I go through the grocery store line and bring it home and get my yellow highlighter out and draw the line. And I don't want to go past this one that has the top 25 liberal arts colleges or research institutions, or whichever way you want to do it. It starts to take away what you know for students about yourself, as families, what you know about your children, who they are as people, and how they best learn, and what other values you bring to the process as you try to make this choice. Instead, you give it up to U.S. News if you start to take seriously the numbers that they have placed in front of those institutions and that information that is there. So you need to resist it. The interesting part about that is that one of the pieces that they highly value is this idea that a school is really great if it rejects a lot of its applicants. So they do a great job now, because colleges, oh gosh, if the public really likes these rankings, then let's see as a college what we can do to convince a whole lot of people to apply, even if we know they're not very good for us. But let's get them to apply, because if we get a lot to apply and we can reject a lot, then people will think that we're really great. This is absurd, and yet here we go. Every year it happens, and people clutch the magazine. My friend and I, my colleague that travels with me as we do the Colleges That Change Lives presentation, we have decided that if there's such fascination with this, then we are going to open a college. Her name is Maria. I'm Marty. We're going to call it M&M College. And we are going to widely advertise and market M&M College and send all those fancy brochures into your homes. And everyone will want to apply because it looks so good. And then we're going to deny everyone. And the word will go out across the land. And the next year, people will say, did you hear? M&M is really good. No one got in. It must be great. See how crazy that is? So resist the temptation to make the assumption that someplace is good, a good college, because it rejects a lot of people that apply. It may be the perfect college for you as a student, but don't make the assumption that it is just because of that selectivity rating. It is something that U.S. News really values. And certainly another piece of this process is SAT and ACT scores and how they play into it, and how those kinds of tests then show the value of an institution. There's one more aspect of looking at data and statistics that represent the entering statistics of who's attending those institutions. You have not found out anything about the college or university experience and what will happen when you come there as a student if you are just focusing on those entry statistics that U.S. News uses when they do their rankings. You haven't found out what the experience is like as a student. You haven't asked the questions to determine if the fit will be best for you. Lauren Pope, the author of First Looking Beyond the Ivy League and then Colleges That Change Lives, likened this to walking into the emergency room of a hospital and judging a hospital based on the health of those waiting in the emergency room. You wouldn't think much of the hospital if you looked around and saw all of these sick people. Let's wait until they get treated and see what happens and then decide how to rate that hospital. The same is true of the college and university experience. You need to be digging and trying to find the information about what goes on for a variety of students at any one place, asking what the outcomes are, what the experience will be, and then make the decision about whether or not it truly is good and good for you as a student. I tell families, just because you can get in somewhere does not mean that you should go to that place. People get very excited when they can get into a place that everyone recognizes the name of, and it may be that's the perfect fit. But let's ask the questions to determine that that's the case instead of making those assumptions about it. I've spent time, now telling you, don't do this and don't do that. So I had families say to me, so okay, what are we supposed to do? Because at least those rankings make it pretty easy because someone else went out and asked those questions or gathered these statistics, and if they did all that work, then this should be pretty good and we can use this list. No, don't do that. I can give you some other advice and you're not going to like it, but it is the best way that it works. This process should take more time than scanning a list and looking down and finding numbers of rankings. It should have you start to very deliberately evaluate colleges by reading about them, by meeting the people who teach there and who are the administrators of these institutions, and by asking the questions so that you can get answers that are specific to you. You should know, later on, there's some brochures up here which you can grab, and you'll be able to walk out with what I'm talking about. But you should know, for example, about NSSE, the National Survey of Student Engagement. NSSE is a survey that colleges do not have to administer. But those who are choosing to administer NSSE surveys to their entering first-year students and then to their third-year students are schools you should be aware of because they are paying to take part in the survey process. And what they are doing is trying to make